everyone, welcome back. So here we are in week 9 of Voyage 16. And as a recap, this start off is $3,640, and that's Discover 1, and it's our final balance transfer on that card. So joining us this week is 9 whales to keep us company, and then we'll look into what the numbers have done this week. We first begin with a payroll check of $1,147.85, and then we did send that $147.85 straight to savings using the $1,000 in our savings payback portion. So with the savings part, we ended last time at $1,761.51. We did reapply that $123.72 after bills. We had dividend of 18 cents and also one of 81 cents. And then we had that payroll for the $147.85, giving us now $2,034.07 in that savings account. And then we get to the savings payback portion where we take $1,000 and then we reapply it to the savings, and then we take it back out to pay bills for the next week. So we did have last week we had $876.28 of bills, so we reapply the $876.28 part of that back. And then for loans and lines of credit, we still owed ourselves $95. We applied $50, so we still owe ourselves $45 on that. For mortgage, we had an outstanding balance of $507 still owed to savings. We applied $50, and now we're at $457. And then an Old American Express bill for $289.96. We applied $23.72 to that, and now we're at $266.24. So we had at this time owed ourselves $1,768.24. We applied $1,000, and then we ended up being $768.24. So then we had our savings as at $2,034.07. You add the $1,000. So we are at $3,034.07, and then we take money out for the future bills, for our debt payments. And this one is kind of small. We just have 3 items we're going to focus on this week. One of them is the mortgage for that $781.66. Another for car insurance for $155.33, and then we were able to put $50 towards that Discover 1. And I don't want to ever go over $1,000 on this. That way we can have money that stays in savings and makes it get larger. So we used $986.99 for the week to pay bills, and then we anticipate $13.01 for a savings return after our debt payments this next week. And another thing about mortgage is we have a new company that's going to be taking over the payments. So I was just waiting for, I think the shut-off date was February 2nd. So we're just waiting for the new information to get the new payment to the new place. So that should be a little bit. So I won't have a mortgage update for, definitely not this week, but and maybe next week. So that'll be figured out soon enough on that. So then when we do our bills, we run them through the checking emergency fund. And we currently have a $50 buffer in that checking account. We do have $20 sitting in there that is owed to the American Express. So there's currently $70 just sitting in that checking account. So then we put in the $1,000 for the January 30th payroll. And then $986.99 is going to be applied to bills with anticipation of $13.01 for the savings return. So that gives us right back to the $70. And that's how that gets ran through that account. And then this week we were able to send $50 towards that Discover 1. So last week we're at $2,440, and then after we apply that $50, we're down to $2,390. So then we did do a breakdown. Since it's due in about 2 weeks, we need to maybe do $1,195 for February 6th and February 13th. I'm not sure how that'll work out, but we will see how that runs the course. Now that we have the mortgage paid and also the, like all the other bigger bills, there should be more available for the February 6th and February 13th to apply towards that. And then we could probably also do a loan through savings if need be too on that. And what I'm trying to do is get more cushion on the lines of credit since we don't have a lot of room in them. So I'm trying to get more room into some of those lines so they're easier to work with, and then we can just focus one at a time on that. And then this is just Voyage 16. This is just page 1 of week 1 through week 7, and how we still owed $2,540 by January 16th. And then we had hit our milestone of 75K on the week 6 on January 9th. And then when you get to right now, we're at week 9. We still owe $2,390 towards that Discover One, but we have paid off a total of $75,544.25. Then we look at the credit available. These are the lines I plan on eliminating next. So we're almost done with this Discover One. We have a limit of $22,000. We are currently using $2,390. Available is $19,610. The Visa, I believe, is unchanged since last time. We still have that limit of $10,000. A balance of $97.90.95 with $209.05 being available. So with the credit available lines that we're going to pay off and then no longer use, we have the limit is $32,000 with the balance being $12,180.95. And available is currently $19,819.05. And so far in monthly bills, we have paid $50 to Discover One through our savings line of credit. We have $781.66 set aside for the mortgage, and as soon as we know who to send that to, we'll get that out. And car insurance comes out on February 2nd for $155.33. And then we do have some loan updates. Our loan number 1, we started off with $8,052.82, and we had a payment that happened today on that. Interest was $41.26 with principal being $150.02. So currently we're at $7,902.80 on that loan. And then we have an update on the lines of credit 1, 2, and 3. Line of credit 1, we had started off with $11,920.68. And then after the payment, we had $53.89 go to interest, $65.32 principal. Ending balance is $11,855.36. The line of credit 2 started off with $12,312.52. We had $70.48 of interest, $53.17 of principal, and then we ended up with $12,259.35. Line of credit 3, $12,391.53. With $78.93 being interest, $45.44 being principal, and that ended the balance of $12,346.09. And the mortgage, we should maybe have an update by the end of this week, but the student loans will come out on the 7th, so I don't think it'll be this week, but definitely next week we'll have an update on that. So we still have 2 small bills. I like to kind of keep track of these items just so we don't forget about them. We still have an overdraft of $233.21, and that's just a tiny little loan, and it's like a teeny tiny line of credit for $500. So we still owe $233.21 on that, and then we still owe $300 on our furnace maintenance. So our small bills comes to $533.21. And then, if you have followed me this far, the code word this time will be, I think melting, because right now we had kind of a mini blizzard last night, and now all that snow is melting. So melting would be a good word to use today, and the temperature is beautiful, and my hands are feeling much happier. So please like and subscribe to follow my debt journey. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those down below. And yeah, we'll be getting back to you on that mortgage items once we know who the new processor is, and I can't think of anything else off right hand, but I'll talk to you in the next video. Have a good week. Thank you for joining me. Bye.